everyone, it's Kim. So I was asked by my friend Linda in Colorado, the one that came and made soap with me that time, if I would do a video on making my salt lick lollies. And they're just, you know, lollies, suckers, whatever you want to call them. And so anyway, I'm going to just show you. I'm going to try to do it in sections and see if my son can splice it together for me, because you know I'm no videographer, that's for sure. Okay, so I take a saucepan like this or whatever and a candy thermometer, and I attach it to the side. And the recipe is entirely up to you how you want to do it, but I like to use organic sugar, and that's the one that's kind of, I'll show it to you, that is kind of like a beige color. I'll show it to you up close. It's real sparkly, and it's not quite as brown sugar, but yet it's not white. It's unbleached. There's no pesticides, no herbicides, no chemicals. And anyway, so there it is. So I take a couple of cups of that. Then I add a quarter cup of water. And then I need a half a cup of corn syrup, just regular light corn syrup. But a trick to getting it out of your measuring cup is to mist the measuring cup with a little bit of like oil. So I'm just using some pan spray, or you know, like the vegetable oil spray. And then that gives that light coating in there that'll make it easier for it to slip out. And so there's my half a cup of light corn syrup. Let me get my scraper. Of course, when I need it. It's nowhere to be found. You know, here I do soaping stuff all the time. Oh, here it is. But my cooking utensils, I don't ever use. Cook in the kitchen? Are you kidding? Okay. So that is the corn syrup, and it comes out fairly clean. So, let me see. And then I need to add some cream of tartar, and that is 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Get it? Where did I put it? Shows you how prepared I am. There it is. Okay. So that's my cream of tartar. And then you just stir it and get it all mixed together. And I have an electric stove, so I have it like on 2, because my stove seems to be hot a lot. You know, I can't keep it any higher than that, because it seems to want to where it wants to burn. And it's going to take a little while for it to get up to the point where it needs to get up to the temperature of 300. 300 exactly. Go 290, the candy's going to be too soft. So you have to have it at 300, and that is called hard crack. And so once you get it all stirred in there, and then it starts to melt, what you're going to do is, they call it washing the pot down, and you're going to take a pastry brush and dip it in water, and then you're just going to you're going to let it run down the sides, and you're going to clean off all the sides in there that might have sugar on there, because then that causes crystallization in the candy itself, and you don't want that to happen. Like after. And so, but you want to keep stirring it until you get it broken down, until it's clear, but then you don't want to mess with it anymore. You just want to let it bubble. That's why you can't have it at too high of a temperature, because you don't want it to be to burn, because you're not stirring it. At least that's the way it's worked for me. I am no chef, no candy chef, nothing like that. This is just something that I have another friend. I have two friends that are named Linda that are good friends, and that I know through candle and soaping. And the other one, it lives in Florida, and she had sent me one for Christmas, as part of my Christmas package, was this salty lolly. And at first I thought, there's no way I'm eating that, because it just looked weird with a black Hawaiian salt in it. And she goes, just try it. They're delicious. You're going to be addicted. And so I did, and that was it. So I was on a quest to make them then, to learn how to do it. And so then that's when this all came about. And of course, everybody has their own recipe. Really, all it is sugar. You can use white sugar. You can, whatever kind of sugar you like. It's sugar, water, and some people don't even use Karo syrup, but it's sugar, water, and corn syrup. And you can put cream of tartar. You don't have to put cream of tartar. I just did it because I saw it in several recipes, and I always usually just go on the internet and I look at a bunch of different recipes, and then I just kind of make my own up. But that's the way I do everything, it seems like. So anyway, see, it's starting to melt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to oops, a little bit of water underneath there. Just let that sit for a second. And I'm going to get me some water so I can wash down the sides. Put some in here. This is something I should have already had. Here it is. So then what you do is, I hope you can see this, yeah, is that you take your water on your pastry brush. This is one of those silicone ones. I'm sure one of those like nylon ones would probably be better, but this is the kind I have. It would probably hold more water, to help it wash down. So you just basically clean up the inside walls of your pot, so that way all that sugar that might have got on the edges there when you were stirring doesn't crystallize inside your candy. And when I was little, I used to make, I was raised by my grandmother, adopted by her and everything, so I called her Mom. But every year, she was like this major cookie. It started in October. Right after Thanksgiving, it was like full on. She would make, I can't even imagine how many types of candies and chocolate-covered cherries and divinity and pralines. And so I have always been around, helping when I was a kid. So when I saw that it was just a lollipop, I just thought, well, those should be able to not be too difficult to make. It is a little bit more trickier than I thought. That was arrogance of me thinking that. But I just practiced a few times, and sometimes you have a failed batch. It just depends. Like I made some that were made out of chai tea instead of the water. I used a really concentrated chai tea, because I like chai, anything chai, I like it. And then I used pumpkin spice as a flavoring in it, and then vanilla bean vanilla bean salt, because they actually have vanilla bean salt. They have so many different types of salts, it's not even funny. But for me personally, I feel that the best salt for these lollipops that's the mildest is the Hawaiian black volcano salt. The lava salt. It has like activated charcoal in it. I don't know. It's just a very mild salt. It's not as strong. But there's so many different kinds. It's not even funny. I mean, I went crazy. I bought every except for I didn't buy like any savory ones, but any sweet type of or citrusy, or I just got so many different types. But I'll end up using them on my soaps just for decorations. But as far as for my salt lick lollies, I'm just using the black one, the black Hawaiian salt, and I'm making the chai lollies just because I happen to like chai. And that has the vanilla bean salt. And so this is it. So I'm going to, I guess I'll just let the video keep going, or I'll stop the video for a minute and then I'll restart it again and he can splice it together, because this needs to be like bubbling like crazy. And then, like I said, it takes probably about 30, well, I'll time it to see how long, because right now we're only at 150. It has to get to 300, and this has to be like really bubbling in order for it to be ready, you know. So I'll start it again in just a second. Okay, so here's an example. I wish I could zoom it in for you, but here's an example of it already starting to bubble. The temperature right now is at 225, almost up to soft ball is what they call it on the candy thermometer, and we're getting there. I'll come back in just a few minutes when it gets ready to be put. And what I'm going to do next, I forgot to tell you that I preheat my oven to about 200, and I put my Pyrex measuring cup, the big one, in there so it can already start so the glass can be getting warm, because I pour the contents of this candy syrup into the Pyrex, and it's going to have bubbles and stuff in it, and you want those bubbles to settle before you start pouring them into your molds. And so I have the container hot, or warm, so it doesn't automatically start setting as soon as I put it into a cold glass container or crack it or whatever. And so that'll be warm in there. So when this gets ready, I'll pour it into the glass Pyrex that's warmed and set it in the oven. And it's only at 200. So since this is already at 300 degrees, it's cooling it, like tempering it basically, and the bubbles are dissipating before I go and start pouring my lollipops. There's no other flavorings in these, but there's all kinds. If you go to like the craft store, they have molds. They have all kinds of flavorings you can buy if you want, like fruity flavors and things like that. But I just make the salt lick lollies, okay? And so I don't put any other flavoring in there besides the natural flavor of the organic sugar and the black salt, the Hawaiian salt. I'll be back in a few. Okay, so the temperature is up to the 300 hard crack. So now I'm just going to slowly pour it into this Pyrex. Can you see that? I don't want to touch it. Okay, I think you can see it there. Yeah. And see how much bubbles are there? So those have to settle before I can actually pour the candy. Okay. So now I'm going to put this mixture. I mean, this is the candy for the lollipops, the hard part. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. It's on set at 200 to just wait a few minutes. Usually takes about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes for those bubbles to settle. And then I'm going to stir in some of the black sea salt. And you have to keep it like a spoon or something in the Pyrex when you're pouring the lollipops, so you can kind of keep the salt stirred in, because otherwise it starts sinking and you don't get there won't be enough salt in all the lollipops. I've tried putting some in the molds first and then pouring the lollipops, but it doesn't have the same effect because it's not all the way throughout. I don't know. It seemed to work out better when I actually mixed it in. So we'll be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna move the camera. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the syrup, the candy, out of the oven. It's been about 10 minutes. This is, now if you use white sugar, you're going to get a different color. But because I'm using the organic unbleached sugar, I get this kind of a honey color. And so I'm going to go ahead and add, I'll set this down right here. I'm going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon of, this is the salt that I'm talking about, of the salt to it, and stir it around and see what it looks like. See if I have enough in there. I don't want it clumped up. Yeah, that's enough. Now, these are going to be, a lot of these are going to be for Holly, because Holly wants them. So, and I also need to make some anyway for my packages that I mail out, but I still had some of the chai ones that I could send too. Okay, so these molds are the molds that I found that I like the best. They're by Lore Ann is what they're called, and I got them at the craft store. I really like them because all I had to do was drop the stick down in there, and well, first I had to just wipe them with a little bit of the non-stick spray and then drop the stick in there. It's just so much easier. So then you just have to take and then just pour some in, but try not to overfill. You know, like anticipate the fact that it's going to be full by the time you drop it, just because it makes a neater lollipop if you don't overfill. That one's a little full. That one's definitely a little full. See how quickly it can overfill, and then you have this edge on them, and I don't like that. And if your stick starts to slide backwards, you just shove it over there more. And I noticed that with my recipe, it takes about 10 of these molds. Oops, see? It takes about 10 of these molds to use up this whole little batch here. I tried the metal ring ones, and at first that's what I thought I was going to go with. But when I ended up finding these, it was like, oh, these are so much easier. Because they literally just pop out once they're hardened up, because I've oiled them a little with the non-stick spray. And none of the hassles with the sticks anymore. I mean, not with the sticks, with the little metal frames were kind of a hassle, because they leaked out the bottom. Yeah, so anyway, this is the way I make the salt lick lollies. And so all I do is once they're hardened up, just pop them out of the molds and then put them in the little plastic cellophane baggies that, you know, that they come in. I put my little bow and my little label on there, and that's it with the ingredients. So anyway, I'm going to turn off the camera now, but thank you for watching, and I hope this helps if you decide to ever make your own lollipops. I know, here I am. Soap, lollipops, tambourines. You never know with me. Have a great evening.